term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon. And this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Why was Stonehenge really built? The mystery of Stonehenge has puzzled scientists for centuries. One theory suggests it was an ancient astronomical structure used to observe celestial events. Research shows that Stonehenge was aligned with the summer and winter solstices. Another hypothesis proposes that it was a place of healing or a ritual complex. Despite numerous theories, the true purpose of this ancient monument remains a mystery. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. Did you know that secret staircases were built into Italian houses? In Italian cities like Venice and Florence, aristocrats often built houses with secret staircases that allowed them to hide in case of danger. These staircases were hidden within the walls and led to secret rooms or exits. Some of them still exist today and are true architectural treasures. Even now, these hidden passages continue to fascinate explorers and tourists, intrigued by the mysteries of the past. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Did you know that there are hotels in Japan run by robots? In Japan, there is a hotel chain called Hen-Na Hotel, where guests are served by robots. Robots can greet visitors, check them in, and even deliver their luggage to their rooms. In some cases, cleaning and room service are also handled by machines. This innovative approach brings a futuristic feel to hospitality, making Japan one of the leaders in robotic service. And although it sounds like the future, you can experience this today. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo, it's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. Can you believe Scotland's national animal is a unicorn? Yes, it's true. Scotland has chosen the unicorn, a mythical creature, as its national animal. This magical beast, symbolizing purity and strength, has held a special place in Scottish culture and symbolism for centuries. The unicorn became a national symbol in the Middle Ages and still adorns coats of arms and flags today. As a national emblem, the unicorn represents Scotland's proud, independent, and slightly mystical spirit. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey, or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Amazingly, Norway has a special underwater restaurant. Norway has opened Europe's first underwater restaurant called Under. It is submerged 5 meters underwater, and through large panoramic windows, diners can observe the underwater world without leaving their table. The restaurant offers not only gourmet cuisine, but also the chance to watch fish and sea creatures swimming just meters away from you. This unique restaurant has become a major attraction for food lovers and nature enthusiasts alike. Octopuses lay eggs like chickens. Octopuses are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs like many other animals. A female octopus can lay thousands of tiny eggs and guards them diligently until they hatch. During this period, she does not eat and devotes all her energy to protecting her offspring. After the eggs hatch, the mother octopus often dies from exhaustion. This self-sacrificing parenting instinct makes octopuses remarkable creatures, willing to give everything for the next generation. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. Did you know there are about 4,000 satellites flying above you? Currently, over 4,000 active satellites are orbiting Earth, performing various tasks. They provide GPS signals, weather data, telecommunications, and even climate monitoring. But that's not all. Each year, more satellites are launched into orbit, raising serious concerns about space debris, which could threaten future space missions. Why do different countries have different sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. Turns out, there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Can you believe that in the USA, there was once a rain of spiders? In the small town of Golden, Colorado in 2015, an unusual natural phenomenon occurred, which locals called the rain of spiders. Thousands of spiders fell from the sky, filling the streets and yards. Scientists explain this by the fact that spiders use a technique called ballooning, where they take off into the sky on their webs and travel great distances using wind. This phenomenon can be observed in various parts of the world, but such a massive rain shocked the locals. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's? Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Can you imagine sharks that walk on the ocean floor? Yes, there are sharks that literally walk on the seafloor. These amazing creatures are known as epaulet sharks and belong to the genus Hemicillium. They use their fins like legs, moving across the ocean floor in search of food. This ability allows them to hunt even in the shallowest areas of reefs where swimming would be difficult. Their unique adaptation makes them true walking sharks among their kind. Isn't this an example of how incredible nature can be, giving a marine predator such unusual skills? Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths, where owls symbolized knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild. Yet, it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet, when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Si Cuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it, and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Grafino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories, from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide and seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large, empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia, containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratia exoriza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. The origins of the word nurse date back to ancient times. The word nurse has its roots in Latin, where it originally meant to breastfeed. Over time, this word expanded its meaning to include those who care for the sick and help them recover. Today, when we call someone a nurse, we acknowledge their vital role in providing comfort and assistance. Nurses continue to embody the spirit of care, from their ancient origins in nurturing to their modern roles in the healing process. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time, the brain adjusts to the new place and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes, bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, And even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Why do you think lightning can strike the same place multiple times? Contrary to popular belief, lightning can strike the same place multiple times. For example, the Empire State Building in New York is hit by up to 100 lightning bolts every year. This happens because tall buildings and structures attract electric discharges. The tops of these buildings are equipped with lightning rods to protect them from strikes, making multiple lightning strikes not just possible, but common. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle.